Hi again, this is Jenny from openmindtherapy.co.uk, working with chronic fatigue syndrome. And the last couple of videos I've been talking about getting to know yourself a bit better and how to do that alone and in community. And this led me to talk about, of course, the course that I'm running on the 2nd of September. And I just wanted to go through some of the topics that will be coming up on that course and see if you can see yourself within these topics, because if you can, you might want to consider joining us, and I'll put the link below for the course itself and you can go and read about it as well. So these are some of the topics we will be covering. There'll be others that I might weave in as we go, because that's the nature of real course, real feedback from what's going on in a course. And they're not in this order, but I'm gonna just use them in this order for now. So firstly, one of the things that seems to be the most difficult for people with chronic fatigue is setting a boundary. And the reason is because the fear is I might not be liked, or I might say something wrong, or I might put a very strict artificial boundary in and people might think, oh my God, what did I do that for? What did you do that for? That's ridiculous. So arrogant, so self-important, having a boundary. I mean, goodness me, who needs a boundary? There's that sort of fear of having a boundary. So I'm going to take you through what it takes to have a boundary, because there's so much stuff online, isn't there, about setting boundaries, but what does it take to have a boundary, and what does it mean to have a boundary? Does it mean you become rigid and inflexible? No, not at all. Does it mean that if somebody steps over your boundary, you are obligated to shout at them? No, not at all. Does it mean boundaries, I might have said this already, boundaries are terribly arrogant and self-important? What makes you think you ought to have a boundary? No, not at all. It's none of that. Boundaries they come from a natural sense of well-being. They come from a natural sense of I do matter, and they are not confrontational, and they are not self-limiting, in the sense I limit myself. And they are not hostile and they are not rude to establish a boundary. So how do you do that? You have to learn, and this is one of the topics that we will be covering, is getting to know yourself deeply. So I've got this down as the very last one, and we may move that in the middle somewhere. But getting to know yourself deeply, knowing that it's okay to be you, and your boundaries are not rigid, brittle things that you have to impose on other people. They're actually, your boundary is full of self-love, not arrogance, not self-importance, self-love, positive self-regard. So your boundary represents the most sacred part of you that you won't allow anyone else to trample on. That's a boundary. Now, when you assert your boundaries, you do not do that in a brittle way. You do not do that by saying, stop, that's enough. You can do. There's no reason why you shouldn't do. But if you're really in charge of your life, your boundaries are about a natural self-preservation. And we all have it and we all need it. We naturally all need to preserve the sacredness of our own relationship with ourselves. I know that sounds a bit sort of like, self-indulgent, but it isn't. It's core. It's right at the center of who you are. If you don't treasure you, no one else will do it for you. They just won't do it for you. Yeah. And nobody knows what kind of treasuring you need anyway. So if you outsource that to somebody else, then you will never have a boundary, because it really doesn't matter what other people think of you. It matters what you think of you. So, so boundaries, I will teach you not only how to get to know yourself through establishing boundaries, but what to say, what to do, how to negotiate your boundaries, because your sacred relationship with yourself isn't just like you sort of saying, oh, look, I'm wonderful, you know, I'm just so wonderful. People have to take notice of me. It's nothing to do with that. It's about kindly negotiating your needs with somebody else. Instead of just rolling over or trying to fawn or please somebody else, you negotiate your needs in a reasoned, calm way. Now, if you've been storing up a lot of anger for a lot of time and you're scared of your anger, we will be looking at how to deal with anger, your own anger, and how to deal with other people's anger. This is a practice. It's not a one-off. If you don't practice it, you won't learn it. So a lot of this is practice, practice, practice. It's take it outside of the session. Go and practice with some of the course members. Practice how to express and negotiate your needs, how to express your anger without losing your cool. You know, there's ways of doing it, which I'll show you. And then the same with criticism, you know, like this idea that, oh my goodness, if I'm not perfect, I'm going to be so criticized. And then, of course, you know, you end up in this place where you're so exhausted that people criticize you. And I'm not laughing because it's funny, but it's a paradox, isn't it? You know, whereby you think, I'm going to evade all criticism by being perfect. And then you wear yourself out and attract it anyway. So we're going to be looking at how to deal with other people's criticism from a whole place, you know, from a place of sort of nascent self-love, because you're not going to just click into self-love and say, oh, I can do that. This is a process. This is a learning process, hence the length of the course. We need to say no without offending people, because like people get really scared that saying no is offensive. But it's not. It's got nothing to do with them. It's got to do with you. That doesn't suit me. I don't feel good about that. Listen, give the place to somebody else because they deserve it more than me, and I'm not going to take the benefit from it. There are ways of saying no that, you know, are really just about honoring your own self. You're not saying no to somebody else. You're saying no to you, for you, on behalf of you. Yeah. Then we've got one of the things that I notice so often with clients all the way through sometimes, that people, because of their perfectionism, they want to use every single tool in the book. They'll spend thousands and thousands of dollars, pounds, whatever currency it is, trying to heal. I'm trying to get it perfect. And, you know, racing, trying everything possible, realizing that the answers are all within, and that all of these things that you're doing are just signposts to come home, to come into your center. That's all they are. So there's this racing for perfection, you know, going ahead. And what I want to do with that on the course is bring some awareness around that. You know, what am I doing that for? What would happen if I stopped? That sort of thing. Forgiveness is a big one, because, you know, one of the reasons, and I'm not talking about Christianity here, I'm talking about letting things go that aren't important enough to make yourself ill over. So really it's taking the pressure off yourself. Forgiveness is self-forgiveness. It's kind of letting things go so that you can be more centered and kind to yourself. And then trust your judgment. You know, so many people wait for others to tell them how they should be feeling, how they should be being in the world. You trust your judgment. It's okay to have a voice. You can have a voice, you know, and your judgment doesn't mean you're a judgy type of person. It doesn't mean that. It means if you evaluate that something is good or bad for you, then you stick with that. Yeah, in a kind way. You don't have to bully somebody else because you've made a decision, this is how it is. You stay with your own trust. One of the most important sessions will be some inner child work that we'll do together, obviously, in the group. And I will ask you to get into twos to discuss a lot of a lot of the format of the course will be spells of group hypnosis, spells of group talk, taking turns, and then breakout groups and meditation. There's all kinds of elements to the actual course. But the inner child work is, I call it bringing our child home, because often we've left that poor kid, you know, in the annals of time, going back, and she's still there or he's still there, you know, freaking out and wanting to please and not be ignored, because once upon a time, if a child was ignored, that would have been certain death. So it is a survival response. The child becomes highly adapted because they have to be in the family of origin to get what they need, to get their needs met. But unfortunately, that moves into adulthood, and it causes a lot of problems for the adult who's still behaving as though they have no right to speak, they have no right to their voice, because it means certain death if they spoke up. So you probably see the link there quite quickly. And that leads me to the final topic, which is self-censorship. And that is whatever we've had done to us, our voice closed down, our emotions ignored, whatever it is that's done to us, we continue that. We self-censor because we are anxious that somebody else might not like us if we were to tell them what we really feel. So these are quite extensive topics. I have other topics just in case I need to switch one in or out, depending on the nature of the group. You know, it's quite wide-reaching. On the first two courses we ran in the early spring of this year, 2025, a lot of people are still in touch with each other. They're still talking with each other. People come from all over the world because it's an online course. And I think even in people that feel they're not making much progress, there are glimmers, cracks of activity. I'm thinking of one person I saw just a few days ago who's been on the group, and she is, despite her judgment, actually learning how to move more in her world, how to get around more physically and emotionally. So these things sometimes take time, but they certainly take perseverance. So if you're ready for this, I would love to welcome you on our course. It starts on the 2nd of September. It starts at 4:30 UK time. It's probably not ideal for the eastern side of the world. So we're talking about Australia, down under, or anything far over into East Asia. But it will be very good for the West. So we're talking all of the West, most of Europe, and some of Eastern Europe and beyond. So based on that, maybe we'll run one run in our time morning, which would be more appropriate for people on the eastern side of the world. So who's welcome? Anyone with chronic fatigue or ME who wants to recover and who is ready to join us on an odyssey of self-discovery, so that you can create the reality that you want in your life and the well-being. Okay, so I think that's it for now. I will put the link to the course in the chat below, or in the show notes, as they say. If you've got any questions, do just send me an email, jenny@openmindtherapy.co.uk. I'll put that in the link thing below as well. And if you want to email me direct, you can do that. And if you want to set up a session before the course, that's fine. I do have a calendar on my website, but I know I don't have many spaces left on the freeze before the course starts. So if you want to email me direct and ask for a half-hour short get-to-know-you session, I'm very happy to do that. So I will leave that with you for now, and I look forward to seeing you at some point. Okay, bye for now.